we are focusing on this training a lot on the concept of prompt engineering, how to get the most effective prompts. One of the reasons why it's so important to understand how to talk to AI and when to take AI responses seriously or not is the concept of hallucinations. What it means is that sometimes these tools that we have trained to think like humans, just like humans, they make mistakes. They can make up information. And sometimes they sound quite convincing. And if you're not aware of the fact that it could be a hallucination, you may just believe everything that ChatGPT says, which would be a terrible mistake. So important for us to understand that because of the nature of this technology and the way that it works, it's generating text, but it doesn't really understand if that text is correct, is actual factual information or not. This lesson is about prompt engineering, and it's going to be the first of many. As we said before, the quality of the responses is influenced by the quality of your questions. Crafting, crafting those questions is what's going to make you a skillful ChatGPT super user. That is exactly what being a ChatGPT advanced user or expert means. Really understanding the power of prompt engineering. Let's start with, we're talking a lot about prompts, but let's start by asking, what is a prompt? A prompt is an instruction or a set of instructions that we provide to a large language model, such as ChatGPT, to guide it towards a desired response or task. So we want ChatGPT to help us with something. That's why we are interacting with it. And that instruction, that input, is what we call a prompt. So let's look into what is prompt engineering. Okay, so let's ask ChatGPT, what is prompt engineering? And if you want to type along with me and try on your side, what is prompt engineering? And we have a great explanation here where it's telling us that prompt engineering is the process of designing and refining prompts to effectively communicate and extract the desired responses from languages like ChatGPT. It involves crafting specific instructions, questions, and statements that guide the model to generate relevant, accurate, and useful outputs. This is a very good definition. And it is essential, right? And ChatGPT is giving us here some key aspects of prompt engineering: clarity and specificity, context provision, so adding sufficient context. We're going to be looking into this in a bit later in our future lessons. Iterative refinement, domain knowledge, constraints, and examples. So these are just some things to consider when we are talking about a prompt. Now, let's ask ChatGPT, what are the top 5 benefits of learning prompt engineering? And first, we have enhanced AI utilization because we can maximize the capabilities of the tool if we know how to give those instructions. And we can also have more accuracy, so reduce hallucinations. There's also increased productivity because if you can actually have specific prompts that help you in your tasks, and you can actually automate some of those tasks and they can become more reliable. We also have considerations about cost efficiency, applicability, creativity, innovation. So there are many benefits of learning prompt engineering, and this is why I created this training. Now, let's ask ChatGPT, how could prompt engineering help me in my career? And I'm going to ask you to ask ChatGPT, how learning prompt engineering could help you in your specific area of interest, your career or your hobby or your business. Just ask ChatGPT how could learning prompt engineer help you. Okay, so in this case, I'm a technology trainer and content creator, but you can fill in the blanks and use this prompt to see how ChatGPT can help you. And you're going to get really great ideas from ChatGPT about how you can use prompt engineering techniques to help you. So I think this is a great way of getting also inspiration and insights on how to use AI by asking AI how to use it. Let's say that this is a bit too long for me and I want it a bit more concise. So I can ask ChatGPT, can you provide the same information in a more concise way, less than 200 words and in bullet points? And just hinting you here to one of the techniques, which is that you can tell ChatGPT the format. You want something more concise, okay? So now we have a more concise answer that maybe it is more useful for you. You can also do the opposite and ask ChatGPT to elaborate on those answers. Now, as you can see, even though we're talking about engineering, I am not using a lot of sophisticated techniques here. All I'm doing is just texting, typing without much crafting or refinement. And we got answers that are kind of okay. They're good enough for this purpose. But if we are after something a bit more detail, or if we are looking for a specific type of format or style, then we need to refine a bit more these prompts. Let's start by the instruction or task. This means clearly telling ChatGPT what is it that you want it to do. Write an essay, write a book, write a poem, help me with a problem, resolve this issue, provide a different perspective, create a joke, create an image. Be specific about what you want it to do. So I think that part is something that you can be really specific about. Sometimes you want to create a document, sometimes you want to write a paragraph or a script. Just be specific of what would you want ChatGPT to do. The next one is the role or persona. Who is the AI? Like when you're talking about ChatGPT or these large language models, this is like a huge library that contains the knowledge of the whole internet, and it has university papers of every possible area. So you have to narrow it down a bit in order to get better responses. So you may want to ask ChatGPT to be a professor of physics or a CEO of a digital agency, any role. It's important to understand which kind of part of that AI brain would you like ChatGPT to tap into. So it's a very good idea to provide a role. You also want to specify sometimes what is the audience. This means, okay, who's going to be the recipient of this output? Is it a 12-year-old or a senior executive? Is it someone with technical knowledge or no technical knowledge? So really, really important to define audience. We'll be looking into some practical applications in a future lesson. Format, we saw before 200 words, a paragraph. Maybe we want a table, a document. We also have to think about the intention. This is something that I think is really important, and I have used this one quite a lot, which is, what is your intention? Why are you asking ChatGPT? This can actually improve the quality quite a bit. And the style. So sometimes you want it to be formal or casual or funny or very serious. The style is something that's going to help you change the way that ChatGPT is talking to you. We also could add things like policies. maybe we have some ethical guidelines, we have some copyright restrictions. We could have parameters, which are things like word count, image dimensions, or particular elements that must be included or avoided in the response. I found parameters much more common in image generation tools. I haven't used parameters so much, if at all, in ChatGPT, but it is a component of a prompt in general, so I wanted to mention it. And sometimes we need to provide additional information to ChatGPT because ChatGPT may not have the latest data. So we need to provide specific information, or maybe it's information that is not on the internet, is personal, and then you will add information to that prompt. Now, something I would want to say is that we are going to be learning these prompting techniques, but as of today, talking to AI is more of an art than and less of a science. I mean, there are lots of papers and research on this, but the reality is that the way to get better at it is by practicing a lot. Even in this workshop, even if I give you all these techniques, these proven techniques, there's still a bit of unpredictability. So it is a bit more of something that you have to find yourselves the best techniques that work for you, very specific to the task, very specific to what is it that you want to achieve. So I just want to mention that I aim to give you all the most powerful prompting techniques, but it is a bit more of an